full of nervous energy, wondering if I was going to get a chance or not. Like you said, asked me, did I know I was going to get this gig? And I didn't even know they were going to give me a chance. So I got home and I paced that floor back and forth all night long. And it wasn't even dark when I left there and got home. So all the way to 11 o'clock at night, I was walking back and forth. My friends were saying, sit down, man. You're wearing out my carpet. You know, you stop being so nervous, man. It's going to happen. So around 11 o'clock at night, the phone rings. I run and grab it. And that was James on the phone. He said, Sugarfoot, be at Mother's house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. They decided to extend the auditions and give you a chance. And the chill went through me like nothing ever happened to me before. I could not believe how things had lined up in my life, which began with the voice I told you about earlier, that I was in New Orleans, and something when I said I'm going to go because I don't know, I want to be an old man in a rocking chair on my porch, wondering what would have happened if I would have went. And then something, little voice in me kept telling me, just go, just go. It's going to be okay, trust me, you will see. And that voice was telling me, and it was fulfilled when he said, be at Mother's house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. The brother's going to give you a chance. They're going to extend the audition period just to hear you. So he told me how to get to Mother's house, and I was so excited. And I wanted to call my mother in there, but I said, man, if I audition and I don't get it, it's been looking really bad. So I said, I'm going to hold off and see what happens. So I went to sleep that night best I could. And then I got up, and I had a little raggedy drum set I bought from New Orleans. It wasn't that great, so they told me, don't worry about it. You play on Johnny's drums. It's at the studio. So I went there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And see, Jackie was there, Marlon was there, Tito was there, and Randy was there. I didn't see Michael. They say Michael wasn't there.
Was Papa Joe there?
He was there, and I greeted him when I first got in the gates, and then he just left me to the brothers in the studio. He wasn't in there physically in the room for doing auditions. So of course they started naming off Jackson's song. They greeted me and they was glad to hear me, to see me, and they kept asking me to say something again, say this again, say that again, as if they didn't hear me. Come to find out, they were laughing at my accent, the New Orleans accent, and it sounded funny. They would crack up and they said, "No, your accent, it sounds funny," and so we laughed a bit, we had fun, and then they said, "Okay, you can fix the drums like you want," and I did. And then Tito said, "Well, okay, you say you know these songs?" I said, "Yeah, I know these songs." And like everybody else, I was a Jackson 5 fan as well, and I used to play the songs in my local bands back then, so I knew the songs, but I hadn't played them in years. But I still kind of knew him. So he said, okay, we'll see. And so they started naming songs, ABC, Stop the Love You Save, I Want You Back, and stuff like that. So basically those songs. And we would play them, and they would look at each other, and the Jackson brothers were always quiet, So Jackie and Marlon would whisper in each other's ear.
Hard for you to read where they were coming from?
Yes, and kind of half smiling.
So in other words, that enhanced your nervousness.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I said to myself when I went in there, I said, look, if you really want to get this gig, you can play. If you really want to get this gig, you can't afford to be nervous, because when you're nervous, you make mistakes. When you make mistakes, you don't get the gig. So I had a mindset to say, I can't afford to be nervous. And so I went in there with confidence to play. But when I would see them whisper in each other's ear and then look at each other and smile and kind of laugh a little bit, I was like, man, I must be screwing it up. I'll be jacking this beat up. But I know I'm playing it right. But I'm thinking something was wrong. So anyway, for song after song, that would happen. It's okay. Tito said, okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. And looking at the other brothers and stuff and the band members, he said, that was great. That was great. Okay, you know this song. And he was going one song after the other.
If I may stop you for a second, who all was at was Mike McKinney there?
Mike McKinney was
David
there.
Williams, was he there? Was he around at that time?
He wasn't around that time.
Now,
Bud Rizzo.
on some of the album tracks I know from Destiny during that time. Did you ever see like Marlo Henderson or Roland Batista, any of those guys around? Or just basically, I guess, just a touring band where they were trying to audition?
Yeah, touring bands. I didn't see none of those guys.
Okay.
And at the time, I wasn't as much in reading linear notes as you.
Sure.
You know.
No, I'm just curious because I've had James Gatson on the show and he was telling me he used to go out to the house and stuff and just different people that would be there. I'm just curious.
No, I didn't see any of them. Just a band and the brothers that I named. Michael wasn't there. So, I was, after every song, I'm wondering why they laughing? Why they whispering? But I didn't know that's the nature of the brothers, how they do. Very private, very secret amongst each other, and they didn't talk out a whole lot. But Tito was pretty much directing things, Tito and Randy. And so they'd ask me, this song, that song, we play them, and I know them, So that was pretty good, And then they got to the point where they said, okay, you did great on that. Tito leading on his guitar and neck. And I said, okay, you did pretty good on that. Now we're going to see if you really can play this. And he said, shake your body down on the ground. And I said, yeah, I know it. And he was like, Shock, you know that? They kind of jumped back. Tito jumped back. You know that? I said, yeah, I know that. He said, you can play that beat? I said, yeah, I can play that beat. Of course I can play that beat, yeah. And it was really kind of shocking. I was wondering, why are they so shocked if I can play the beat or not? Say, okay, we're going to see. Now we're going to see if you're really good. You can play this with us. He said, let's play Shake Your Body Down.
Yeah, that's not a conventional 4/4 rhythm song for those who know anything about music. That's a very different kind of song. Very different.
For me, there was a backstory on that song, and they didn't know the backstory. And to stop there in the audition point, like in a movie, flashback, fade back into another scene, and I'm back in New Orleans. And I'm working at Alan Toussaint's studio, very famous producer.
Oh, yeah. You guys, for those you may not know, Alan Toussaint did that great LaBelle LP, Lady Marmalade, What Can You Do for Space Children, all that, just so you guys will know.
The Beatles recorded at the studio and everything. So I was working at that studio with a young producer named Isaac Bolden. And Isaac was a young black producer there. And he would bring in young local artists and produce them and write songs. So just so happens, and the brothers didn't know this, that he had this young artist he was producing the song for. And we went to the studio, he called me up and I need you for a session. I went down to my drum, set up. He said, yeah, now we're going to do this song. And, and let me play the song that we're going to copy it off of. And at the time, like I said, I was a Jackson fan, and I had that album and I learned that beat from the record. And it was like an unusual beat.
Yeah,
to make the toms happen,
it's different.
To make the hi-hat happen, you had to do some trickery of crossing patterns and everything. So I had learned that beat prior to that session, and I knew it. I could really, really play it and mastered it. But when Isaac asked me to play it, I want the song to sound just like this. I was raised in a certain way, and that was one of the ways my mother and father instilled me. You do not steal. It's not great. It's not nice to steal. So when he asked me to play that beat on that record, I said, okay, I can play it. He said, you can play that? I said, yeah. He said, okay, we're going to cut it just like that. And I thought to myself, oh, man, I can't do that. That's stealing. My dad, mom and dad said, you can't steal. You're not supposed to steal. So I got to change this beat up some. So it won't be exactly like
You're trying to lose the gig, in other words.
Well, no, I was trying not to do something.
I'm just messing with you. You get that close, and you know.
No, this wasn't the Jackson. I'm talking about Isaac Bolden.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay,
I'm still back in New Orleans.
Sure,
in the flashback.
Sure.
And them not knowing this whole backstory, and Isaac I wanted just like this, and I walk into the drums and say, oh my goodness, what I'm gonna do? I can't do that. I'll get in trouble. The police will come and get me. I'm that naive. I said, police might come and get me.
You were green. You were definitely green.
I'm stealing a beat and I get in trouble. I said, I know I got to change something. Hi-hat of the times, I got to change it. So we started playing the song. He said, okay. They counted off and had the click running. I'm playing it. And all of a sudden, he said, come on, talk back, Mike. And I changed the hi-hat up a little bit. He said, wait. Stop. Everyone on the talk back. He said, Jonathan. I said, what? He said, I thought you said you knew that beat. And I said, yeah, I know the beat. I know it, yeah. He said, I thought you can play that beat. I said, I can play it. He said, that's not the beat. It's different. I said, oh, okay. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say I don't want to steal it because, it's stealing. I said, okay, I don't know. He said, well, you know it? You really know it? I said, yes, I know it. He said, let's try it again. And I said, oh my goodness, what I'm going to do? I can't play it just like the record. That's stealing. I get in trouble. So he counted off again. We start playing it again. I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the times this time. Maybe he won't recognize it. So we start playing this song, and I changed the time pattern up, and he stopped again. Oh, wait. Jonathan, that ain't the beat. Why you thought you said you knew it? I said, I know it. He said, come in, everybody come inside in the control room. And I went in the control room with everybody. And he said, I want you to listen to this. And he played the song for me to listen to the beat. So of course I know it already. I'm listening to it. He said, "Now you hear what that's playing there?" I said, "Yes." He said, "You know what that beat?" I said, "I know it exactly." He said, "Well, why are you not playing it?" Then I had to come out and tell him. I said, "Because that would be stealing, and I might get in trouble." And the whole studio
fell
laughing.
out. Yeah.
And because I was so naive, he said, "No, you won't get in trouble. Everybody steals grooves and beats." I said, "Yeah, but it's not right." He said, "I tell you what." He said, if the police come get you, tell them I told you to steal a beat. And so play it just like the record. And I felt the weight off my shoulder. I said, okay, I'll do it then. Since you get in trouble. So I went back in there and I played it just like the record. And he got on the talk back while we were playing. He said, yes, that's it.
You seriously were scared?
I was seriously scared. I was that naive.
Come on, Jonathan. You serious?
I was that naive. I was just, never got in trouble back then. Never got in trouble. So I was afraid of what might happen.
One quick question, too, before we continue on. Is Randy really as funky as what I be hearing?
Yes,
yeah, he's nasty, you guys.
He's
nasty as a keyboard. He's stanky.
He is.
Yeah,
really
I
amazing.
mean, I know you would know.
Absolutely.
Some of the stuff I be hearing, I be kind of like, damn, he's bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I played the beat like it and just like it, and it was like, that's it, fantastic. So we went back in and listened. It was like the record. So that's why I was able to play the beat. Tito didn't know. From that episode, that flashback, then I learned. But guess what? In that story, backstory, once again, God was preparing me for what I was going to need for that audition. When you think about it.
Hold that thought. Let's get.
Yes, I was there, and Tito put me to the challenge. Now you heard the backstory. So Tito, none of the brothers was aware of that. I was pre-prepped by God through that recording session at Alan Toussaint's studio to actually steal the beat from Shake Your Body Down for one of the artists that he was producing. And I knew the beat already from learning it before I did that session, but in that session, it just refined it that I had it down perfectly.
Did you actually tell them about what had actually happened in New Orleans? Did you ever, or you never? Yeah,
I never related.
We won't tell. We won't tell.
They will know once they see this interview. They'll say that was a secret weapon.
I interviewed Tito. I actually could tell. No, I ain't gonna do that.
I think they would laugh and smile as well at now knowing all these years later how that came about to be and that was a song that actually clinched the deal. When I played that song, they said, "You're our drummer. Nobody can play the song." And there's another part to that once I get to that part, after I played the song for Tito. But when Tito and them didn't know I knew the beat. I mean, because a lot of drummers say I can play that beat, where they can't really play it. But they didn't know me to know about that I was telling the truth, that I really could. So, because they had just met me. So when Tito said, "Okay, we're going to play this song. We're going to see if you know this beat. We're going to see if you got it." So we counted the song off, and I started playing the song. And then about 32 bars into the song, I start playing it. Then Randy comes, like, they had frowns on their faces. I'm like, oh man, I must be screwing it up. I'm thinking to myself, must be screwing up. They're frowning and stuff, and they're looking at each other like in disbelief. And I said, man, what am I doing wrong? I'm sure I had the beat right. But then Randy comes around and starts looking around the drum set, my hi-hat, my snare, and looking at me, and looking at Jackie and Marlon, and then looking back at me like...
In other words, this dude, how is he playing this?
I didn't know that.
They thought you probably had some kind of click machine or something. You snuck in there.
I'm thinking he's saying, see, you messing this beat up. So, because I didn't know I was, So Randy said, no, stop. And I stopped. I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm doing something wrong? And Randy said, no. He wouldn't say what at first. And he said, Foot, play that again. Play that beat again. So I started playing it, at normal tempo. He said, no, play it slow. I'm like, what's going on? And to myself, I'm saying, what's going on? Am I really screwing it up that bad? So I start playing it, really slow. And there's elements of the hi-hat does a tricky pattern, and then you gotta sneak your arm under that hi-hat, and then hit the one time, and then hit the other time, and then come back.
Let me ask, this is a good question to ask then. Was that song, you think that song was actually overdubbed? I forget the drummer's name who played on it. Ed Green, who did all the Barry White stuff, Can't Get Enough of Your Love, and the Mac Brothers Gonna Work It Out. Ed Green is bad. Amazing.